to get through that active will. This is what is coming up here in the control center at this time. All aspects of the mission still go. We're at T-minus 39 minutes, 47 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. For T-minus 30 minutes, 52 seconds, and counting, aiming toward our planned liftoff time of 32 minutes past the hour, the start of our launch window on this mission to land men on the moon. The countdown is still proceeding very satisfactorily at this time. We'll just get by on important tests with the launch vehicle, checking out the various batteries in the 3 stages and instrument unit of the Saturn V. We remain on external power through most of the count to preserve those batteries which must be used during the powered flight. We've just taken a look at them by going internal and then switching back to external again. The batteries all look good. The next time we go internal will be at the 50-second mark with those batteries, and they will remain, of course, on internal power during the flight. The lunar module, which has been rather inactive during these latter phases of the count, also is going on internal power at this time on the 2 batteries in the ascent stage and the 4 batteries of the descent stage. For the next 20 minutes, we'll take a look at some systems in the lunar module and power down at about the 10-minute mark in the count, power down the telemetry to preserve the power of the LEM. The lunar module in Apollo 11, of course, when it separates from the command module in lunar orbit, will have the call sign Eagle. The command module call sign, once the 2 vehicles separate, will be Columbia. Both Columbia and Eagle are go at this time at 29 minutes, 24 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. We're now less than 16 minutes away from the planned liftoff of the Apollo 11 space vehicle. All still going well with the countdown at this time. The astronauts aboard the spacecraft have had a little chance to rest over the last few minutes or so. At least they haven't been busy with procedures with the spacecraft test conductor. In the meantime, we have been performing final checks on the tracking beacons in the instrument unit, which is used as the guidance system during the powered phase of flight. Once we get down to the 3-minute and 10-second mark in the countdown, we'll go on an automatic sequence. As far as the launch vehicle is concerned, all aspects from there on down will be automatic, run by the ground master computer here in the firing room. This will lead up to the 8.9-minute mark in the countdown when the ignition sequence will begin in those 5 engines of the first stage, the S1C stage of the Saturn V. At the 2-second mark, we'll get information and a signal that all engines are running, and at the 0 mark in the countdown, once we get the commit signal, the signal that says that the thrust is proper and acceptable, we then will get a commit and liftoff as the hold-down arms release the vehicle. We have some 7.6 million pounds of thrust pushing the vehicle upward, a vehicle that weighs close to 6.5 million pounds. We're now 14 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. Marking our countdown for Apollo 11. Now 5 minutes, 52 seconds, and counting. We're on time at the present time for our planned liftoff of 32 minutes past the hour. Spacecraft test conductor Skip Chauvin now has completed the status check of his personnel in the control room. All report they are go for the mission, and this has been reported to the test supervisor, Bill Schick. The test supervisor now going through some status checks. Launch Operations Manager Paul Downey reports go for launch. Launch Director Rocco Petrone now gives a go for 5 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. Coming up shortly, that swing arm up at the spacecraft level will come back to its fully retracted position. This should occur at the 5-minute mark in the count. In the meantime, the lunar module telemetry has been powered down. We took a good look at Eagle, and it looks good. The spacecraft test conductor for the lunar module reported that Eagle was go. The swing arm now coming back to its fully retracted position as our countdown continues. T-minus 4 minutes, 50 seconds, and counting. Skip Chauvin informing the astronauts that the swing arm now coming back. The astronauts will have a few more reports coming up in the countdown. The last business report will be from Neil Armstrong at the 45-second mark in the count when he gives the status on the final alignment of the stabilization and control system. We're now passing the 4-minute, 30-second mark in the countdown. Still go at this time. 4 15 seconds. The test supervisor now has informed launch vehicle test conductor Norm Carlson you are go for launch. From this time down, Carlson handles the countdown as the launch vehicle begins to build up. We're now hitting the 4-minute mark. 4 minutes and counting. We are go for Apollo 11. We'll go on an automatic sequence starting at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. 3 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. And the final abort checks between several key members of the crew here in the control center and the astronauts. Launch operations manager Paul Donnelly wished the crew on the launch team's behalf good luck and Godspeed. 3 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. We'll still go at this time. We'll be coming up in the automatic sequence about 10 or 15 seconds from this time. All still go at this time. Neil Armstrong reported back when he received the good wishes. Thank you very much. We know it will be a good flight. Firing command coming in now. We are on the automatic sequence. We're approaching the 3-minute mark in the count. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. T-minus 3. We are go with all elements of the mission at this time. We're on an automatic sequence as the master computer supervises hundreds of events occurring over these last few minutes. T-minus 2 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. The members of the launch team here in the control center monitoring a number of what we call red line values. These are tolerances we don't want to go above and below in temperatures and pressures. They're standing by to call out any deviations from our plans. 2 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. We're still go on Apollo 11 at this time. The vehicle starting to pressurize as far as the propellant tanks are concerned, and all is still go as we monitor our status board. 2 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. The target for the Apollo 11 astronauts, the moon at liftoff, will be at a distance of 218,096 miles away. We've just passed the 2-minute mark in the countdown. T-minus 1 minute, 54 seconds and counting. Our status board indicates that the oxidizer tanks in the second and third stages now have pressurized. We've continued to build up pressure in all 3 stages here at the last minute to prepare it for liftoff. T-minus 1 minute, 35 seconds, and the Apollo mission, the flight to land of the first men on the moon. All indications coming in to the control center at this time indicate we are go. 1 minute, 25 seconds and counting. Our status board indicates the third stage completely pressurized. 80-second mark has now been passed. We'll go on full internal power at the 50-second mark in the countdown. Guidance system goes on internal at 17 seconds, leading up to the ignition sequence at 8.9 seconds. We're approaching the 60-second mark on the Apollo 11 mission. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong just reported back it's been a real smooth countdown. We passed the 50-second mark. Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
Okay, we got a roll program. Neil Armstrong reporting their roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on proper heading. Plus 30 seconds. Roll complete and pitch program. One Bravo is a upward control mode. Altitude's 2 miles.
Oh, 11 Houston, you're good at 1 minute.
Downrange 1 mile, altitude 4 miles now. Velocity 2,195 feet per second. We're through the region of maximum dynamic pressure now. Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second.
Stand by for mode 1 Charlie. Mark, mode 1 Charlie. 1 Charlie.
Cliff Charlesworth taking a staging status.
This is Houston, you are go for staging. Inboard cutoff.
Inboard engines out.
Come inboard cutoff.
Downrange 35 miles, 30 miles high. Standing by for the outboard engine cut down now.
There it is, right on the tip.
And ignition. Houston, thrust is go. All engines, you're looking good. Hi, Roger. You're loud and clear, Houston.
At 3 minutes, downrange 70 miles, 43 miles high, velocity 9,300 feet per second.
We got skirt step. Roger, we confirm skirt step. Tower's gone. Roger, tower.
Neil Armstrong confirming both the engine skirt separation and the launch escape tower separation.
Houston, be advised the visual is go today. This is Houston. Roger that. Yeah, they finally gave me a window to look out. Houston, your guidance is converged. You're looking good.
Downrange 140 miles, altitude 62 miles, velocity 10,300 feet per second.
11 Houston, you are go at 4 minutes. Roger.
Apollo 11 right on the ground track. .190 miles downrange now, 72 miles high, velocity 11,000 feet per second.
Tracking it for quite a long period of time here with the Air Force cameras, about 80 miles in altitude now and more than 200 miles downrange. And still got a...
Booster says it's looking good at 5 minutes.
11 Houston, you are go at 5 minutes. Roger, Apollo 11, go.
Downrange 270 miles, altitude 82 miles, velocity 12,472 feet per second.
Fly to S4B to COI capability. Okay. Mark, yes.
We're losing sight of the spacecraft, so we'll go to our animation and get to follow the sequence.
Using the S4B if necessary.
You're sitting in your living room. Oh, thank you. You all are coming through beautifully, too.
It is the second stage of the Saturn that is still firing and will continue to fire for about another 4 minutes now.
Everyone's reporting go here in the control center.
So in 6 minutes, starting to get orders. Roger 11, your go from the ground at 6 minutes. sense arm at 8 plus 17. Outboard cutoff at 9 plus 11.
When you see it in the early stages of the liftoff and realize that the
Level sense arm is the sequence that arranges the staging between the second stage and the third stage. The fuel uncovers a sensor starting that sequence.
and realize that the rocket is 363
Predicting
feet
that
high.
will be uncovered at 8 minutes 17 seconds with outboard engine cutoff, 9 minutes 11 seconds on the second stage.
11, go at 7 minutes. 11, this is Houston. Roger, your go from the ground at 7 minutes. Level sense arm at 8 plus 17. Outboard cutoff at 9 plus 11. Roger.
Downrange 530 miles, altitude 95 miles, velocity 17,358 feet per second.
They're within about 5 miles of as high as they want to get on the launch. But I was trying to say that the flame shooting out of the rocket is 2, perhaps 3 times as long as the rocket itself, which is 360
Apollo 11
feet.
still right down the ground track, still go
Long the flame is.
at 7 minutes 41 seconds.
Roger, we confirm.
Inboard engines are out on the second stage as planned. Apollo 11 go on all sorts.
New York, go at 8 minutes. I've just built the Victor relationship. Roger, we got PU shift down here too. United States, Lord, these thunderstorms downrange is about all. Houston, you are go for staging, over. Understand, go for staging. Stand by for mode 4 capability. Mode 4. Mark, mode 4 capability.
Mode 4 and Apollo 11 could get into orbit using the service propulsion system now. Altitude is 100 miles, downrange 883 miles. Outboard engine cutoff.
And ignition.
Again, right on time.
Ignition confirmed. Thrusters go, 11.
And now the
And
third
we have a
stage.
good third stage now.
It stays with it for some time yet.
Velocity 23,128 feet per second. Downrange 1,000 miles, altitude 101 miles.
Houston, at 10 minutes, you are go. And Roger, 11, go.
Capcom Bruce McCandless giving the reports here from the control center.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Predicted cutoff at 11 plus 42. Over. 1142, Rich.
It'll be 11 minutes and 42 seconds into the flight from the third stage.
Downrange 1,175 miles, velocity 24,190 feet per second, altitude 102 nautical miles. Apollo 11 still go on all sources.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are go at 11. Here you go.
It's 42 seconds. velocity 25,254 feet per second. Downrange 1,400 miles now. Altitude 102.8 nautical miles.
Shut down.
Shut down right on time.
1.4 by 103.6. Roger, shut down, and we copy 101.4 by 103.6. Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are confirmed to go for orbit.
Well, they in fact are in orbit. And this is Mission Control to Houston.
This is Houston. The booster is safe. All right.
Show velocity at insertion 25,568 feet per second.
You can see on our map at the NBCU Space Center about where they are located, the flashing lights out over the Atlantic Ocean. They are in orbit, almost exactly what they had in mind. They wanted a circular orbit of about 101 nautical miles. The orbit is 101.4 by 103.6. And they got the speed they wanted, 25,568.
Creo que es el señor López Delia. Delia. Freeman Travis Plant as a señorita. No, lo sé. Y el señor que es de quien era. Creo que es el señor López. Delia. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Ivan, ¿sabes quién es esa señorita? No, no lo sé. Y el señor fue con ella. Creo que es el señor López Favela. Dima, ¿sabes quién es esa señorita? No, no lo sé. Y el señor que es con ella. Creo que es el señor. Sabes quién es esa señorita? No, no lo sé. Y el señor quiesta que ella creo que es el señor. Señor. Y el señor quiesta que ella creo que es el señor.